In this episode of The Excursion, I'll be challenged with fishing, gator spotting, foot golf, and colonial era adventures throughout the state parks in Georgia's beautiful coastal region. And if I succeed in these Southeast Georgia adventures, I'll enjoy all of the amenities in one of the premier cottages here at Gordonia-Altamaha State Park. But if I fail, it's the crew that gets this Peach Day special. Let's get started. The coastal plains and pristine shores in Southeast Georgia never cease to amaze. It's no wonder many English settlers chose this region to call home. Every angle can be considered an artistic masterpiece. The mossy oaks, the rich marshland, and not to be overlooked, the world's largest blackwater swamp, the Okefenokee. The mystery, the beauty, the wildlife, and ecological wonder keep me coming back. And no better place to start than Stephen C. Foster State Park, a place that was brilliantly developed decades ago right in the center of the swamp, where I found my guide, Ranger Josh Sneed.
The refuge has been here since 1937. It was established by Franklin Delano Roosevelt as a place to protect a lot of the wildlife out here.
There's an allure to the swamp. People from all over the world know about the world's largest blackwater swamp.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the wild mystery that's in the swamp. It's got so many different environments and so many different animals, so many different moods, season to season, day to day, and the environments vary so much. You have these dense, dark cypress forests that are just so full of mystery, and then you get these big open spaces full of wildflowers a lot of the times of year and wading birds. So there's just so much to see. Every time you come out on an adventure in the Okefenokee, it's a little bit different experience.
Within our first few minutes, the gators were popping up like they were on cue.
Yeah, we couldn't even get away from the boat basin.
Yes, we spotted the gator known as Big Boy right off the bat. And once we got on the boat, I was optimistic that we would spot the 25 gators that was my excursion challenge for the day. And the challenge was slayed within minutes. There may have been 25 gators in the first 100 yards of our trip. Incredible.
They're everywhere.
That's the main appeal for a lot of people. They want to get out here, they want to see the gators, and we pretty much always do, and we often see just a ton. But they're certainly not the only wildlife out here. Lots of birds, wading birds, there are a lot of different mammals. Black bears always surprise people. There's a lot of black bear in the swamp, bobcats, coyotes, foxes, all kinds of things.
There are a lot of adventures people can take out here. Most of them are on the water.
There's options for basically anyone at any level, from getting out here for a couple hours in a motorboat. Day to day we have boat tours where we share the swamp and kind of tell you a little bit about the background of the wildlife, the nature that can be found out here. Or a canoe or kayak. It's going out overnight. There's 120 miles worth of paddle trails here that link a couple of our entrances all across the swamp. So if you want to get out into the backcountry, the wilderness, you can canoe or kayak to different islands or platforms. And really experience that wild side of the Okefenokee. Or you can hang out in our campground or from the comfort of one of our cottages and just watch the sunset at the park.
The wonderful cabins here at Stephen C. Foster are about as remote as you can get, unless you decide on the backcountry overnight adventures.
If you want to rough it just a little bit, we've got a campground with over 60 campsites. So if you got your big RV or if you got your tent, you can camp right there.
So when I tell people from the city that I'm going to go camping in the swamp, their first reaction is, that's idiotic, there's gators out there. But there's something very important for people to know about the gators here when it comes to people and gators' relationship in the swamp.
As long as you're responsible around these gators, use a little common sense, give them the respect they deserve, an attack is highly unlikely. This refuge has been here since 1937. There hasn't been a recorded attack on humans in that entire time. They are powerful predators, and you got to make sure you're observing them from that safe distance. Since it is a huge refuge, over 400,000 acres, there's not a lot of development anywhere nearby, so that means there's not a whole lot of light pollution. So on a nice moonless night, you can see a sky full of stars. We have one of the best dark skies in the southeast. We're actually certified as an international dark sky park.
Our night sky pictures were a blast. The clouds at times parted for us, creating that perfect, clear view for a ridiculous starry night for still camera shots. We heard critters all around us at night and even spotted a curious armadillo scurrying just a few feet behind us.
Come out here, shut off your cell phone because it's probably not going to work anyway.
Absolutely. This is a great place to disconnect and just get in tune with nature.
I love it. All right, on to the next leg of the excursion.
From the Okefenokee Swamp east to St. Mary's, Georgia, home to a stunning old state park located right on the bluffs of the Crooked River, fittingly named Crooked River State Park. Crooked River State Park. River is in the name, but this river leads out into the marshes, into the beauty of Georgia's coastal waters.
It's a park that's situated right along the border of Crooked River, which is a saltwater tidal river that comes from the Atlantic Ocean. In between some barrier islands, Cumberland Island, and then we're situated within some oak canopy and longleaf pine needle forests. 1939 is when the property was deeded over to the state, and then 1947 was when the park officially opened.
There are a lot of things to do here. When I came here, of course, I thought about water activities.
You can go fishing, kayaking, boating. We do have 2 John boats that are for rent. You can rent them by the hour for 4 hours or 8 hours.
And you also have other experiences out on the water if people want to go and see beautiful Cumberland and some of the barrier islands out there.
We do. We have a sunset tour, usually Friday nights, and then also Saturday we have history tours and beachcombing cruises that go over to Cumberland Island, where it's just an hour or 2 boat ride over to the island, and then some time to stroll along the beach, look for shells, and just relax along the island's edge, and then come back to the park. We also have 5 miles of hiking trails. It's a wonderful place for birding. We've got a migratory route that goes right along the coast, so spring and fall are really great for those wading bird opportunities as well as migratory songbirds.
This is the river trail. Amongst the miles of trails they have here, this one is pretty short and it takes you right up to the river's edge here. You can kind of go back behind where the bluff is. And this spot is remote and it's gorgeous. The 11 park cottages are quite popular for reasons you can clearly see. And they're just a short walk from the boat docks and the North Star Bait and Tackle Shop, where we met Jim, who took me out for a ride through these beautiful marshes.
You worked at the nearby Navy base here, and you're still working in the same general area. You gotta love this area.
Working at the park and going fishing, and look at my office, you know.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
You can do anything you want out here. I mean, you can bring your boat or you can take the ferry over here to Cumberland, hike around all day. The park has 3 different kayak trails mapped out.
And when people want to go fishing, they have some options. You got the bait shop right there.
Right, yep. There's not any time of year out here that you can't catch fish.
Yeah, well, we are going for the most challenging possible time
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
Tell me about our conditions right now.
Well, we're on the last of the outgoing tide on a new moon, so we have a negative low tide, and it's moving really fast. So it makes this situation that much more challenging.
So we just need to catch a fish out here,
Yeah,
don't
that's all
we?
we're gonna do.
I had a bite on my very first cast, but today the winds and tide were working against us. So even though I seemed to be leading towards a catchless afternoon, Jim had other plans.
See, there's something on here.
Oh yeah, all right.
Feels like a trout.
There you go, Jim. Feels like a trout, looks like a trout. Must be a trout. You got that yellow mouth.
Yeah.
Sea trout, that's a good one. That's a cooler fish, folks.
Yeah.
But he's gonna have cooler times now. Way to go, Jim.
All
Got
right.
the skunk off. Yes, sir. That counts for me, guys.
This is an excellent, uncrowded fishing environment, but today was just not my day, at least as an angler. I think I was just too distracted by the unique beauty of these marshes and the wild horses of Cumberland Island. Regardless, the crew may be marking this challenge down as a point in their favor when it comes to the show's final reward. But first, we need to head north to McIntosh County and turn back the clock. About 300 years, in fact. Welcome to Fort King George in Darien, Georgia.
It was established in 1721 by the British military. This fort is actually so old that it predates even the colony of Georgia. Established by the British to continue to move further and further south to expand the colony of Carolina. Fort King George was established before George Washington was even born. It was here from 1721 till 1727 when it unfortunately burned down. So everything that we're seeing today is what we call a full reconstruction. So using the original British records and blueprints, following Colonel Barnwell, our commanding officer at the time, following his plans, we were able to reconstruct the fort. That gives a really unique experience of touring the fort because you're able to go in, you can climb the ladders, you can play checkers in the officers' quarters, you can sit at a table or even experience a meal cooked in our fireplaces and know what it really felt like to be a soldier here in the 1720s. We have several events throughout the year. We actually have 2 reenactments, always in the second weekend of November and the second weekend of March. So you can come and see a blacksmith working in the forge. You can experience a cannon firing. If you were to come on a normal day, you can experience our self-guided tour, take a walk on the nature trail, and then we also have some recreational opportunities. We are nestled here in the Altamaha River Delta, so you can actually rent a canoe or kayak from us and go and experience it as the early scout boatmen would have in the 1720s.
When we return, we make fire, or at least we try. Gator after gator and incredible swamp views, followed by a peaceful Crooked River adventure, leads us to Darien, Georgia, site of Fort King George, a pre-revolutionary recreation that is a must-see when visiting this region. Here I learned the purpose of each building on site and also learned the correct way to fire an 18th century musket.
Poise, firelock, rest, firelock, cock, firelock, present, fire. Prime and load.
Just imagine doing this with hundreds of metal balls flying past your head, keeping hands steady, waiting for your one unpredictable fire.
Present, fire.
Allie, you have a gun.
I do have a gun.
Or we should call this a musket.
A musket, yes, sir.
Okay. You are not an American soldier.
Yes, I am a British soldier. The concept of Americans did not exist yet in the 1720s.
We are here in one of the many houses, the block house. This is the big one.
This is the biggest building of the fort, and it's where you would want to be in the event of a land attack. We have our 2 cannons on this main floor where we entered from, and there are also loopholes for sticking your musket out of around this wall and around the wall of the floor above us. The very upper floor is a catwalk where you can do guard duty, and there are 2 windows from which you have a wonderful view of the river. Today we can just enjoy that leisurely. Back then it was for keeping an eye out for ships.
Yeah, this is great real estate, right?
So we are in the enlisted men's barracks. This is where every soldier except for the officers and the doctor would have stayed. At any given time there'd be about 90 men stationed here. Only half of them would be off duty at any given time, so you have about 45 to 50 men crammed in here all at once, sleeping, eating, playing cards, whatever, and you'd have 2 men to a bunk, 2 men on bottom and 2 men on top. So
Oh, it seemed okay until I heard that.
Yeah, it can get pretty cramped, pretty smelly.
Allie, you are dressed as a private, so you're not supposed to be in here.
I'm not supposed to be in here. No, these are the officers' quarters, so hopefully Colonel Barnwell doesn't catch us crashing his place.
These are nice quarters.
We have a solid wooden floor instead of a dirt floor. You'd have a max of maybe 6 people in here at once. Usually 1 to 6 people would be staying in here, so a lot less crowded.
All right, Allie, this is the moment of truth.
Yes, we have a couple of piles of kindling as well as my tinder kit here, which has all of the materials that we need to start a fire with flint and steel, flint rocks, steel strikers, as well as char cloth. And flint and steel, not only is it a very valuable skill for starting fires, it is also the technology that makes this flintlock musket fire.
Fire. Oh, beautiful. Well, you did it. That didn't look incredibly easy. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Man, I'm jealous.
We
You got
got
that
fire.
a lot faster than I did when I was learning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I know you're just being kind, and that's crazy. As an Eagle Scout, I had to get this done.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge
and
accepted.
completed.
Challenge completed. Crew, go back to your barracks. I'm gonna enjoy my fire here in the officers' quarters.
Swamp adventures, marsh adventures, and a step back in time along the marshes of McIntosh County. We now head inland towards a town known as Reedsville, Georgia, where lies a gorgeous, adventure-filled state park known as Gordonia Alatamaha, where I met the one and only Ranger Al.
Yeah, with a 662-acre park, we have 8 cabins.
You said cabins. These are pretty nice.
Yes,
These are reward-worthy.
right. Yeah, it's not some of your rustic when you think about cabins. These are very nice. They're more high-end amenities in it. 2 bedrooms, queen-size beds, and so forth, and all the comforts of home.
Now we also see a lake.
It's a 12-acre lake, and we have regular john boats, we have aqua cycles, we have paddle boards, we have kayaks on the lake, and a lot of people do fish.
Yeah.
And the centerpiece of the park is the diverse 18-hole golf course known as Brazos Creek, where Al introduced me to my golfing companion and course superintendent, Rob Greer. We are on the back 9, very different from the front 9.
So this is more of your traditional link style course, European course. You know, our front 9's a southern, but this back 9's wide open. You have your 3 different heights of cut, from your hayfields over here to your first cut, to your rough cut, to your fairway. So it's just a really wide open course. You can really just get out there and just open up.
As Rob and I did our best to humor Al and the crew with our double bogey marvels, we each had a shining moment in this round, including this 30-foot one putt from the soon-to-be legendary superintendent.
Go ball, go ball, go ball, yeah! All right! And totally redeemed itself, yes. This hole, number 1, is fantastic, but there's something here I don't recognize. There's orange with a, he doesn't have a golf club, does he?
No, that is actually our tee markers for foot golf. And we
Okay.
are the first Georgia State Park to introduce foot golf. We actually maintain 18 holes of foot golf on 9 holes of golf, and it's an extra way for us to bring a whole different set of clientele to our golf course that would never step foot on the golf course to begin with.
Now you got a different uniform you're wearing, right?
Yes, so yeah, I'm going to be changing out of my golf attire. We have a foot golf club called Southeastern Georgia Foot Golf. And our first generation was known for its very vivid colors. So
Okay.
we maintain 3 sets of tees. We maintain these here, which are the professional set, which I'll be playing from today.
Okay.
Then we maintain that orange set, which was where you'll be playing from today.
Fine. All right, let's do this,
Let's
buddy.
do this. We'll get your challenge on the par 5. Yeah, there we go. If it just stays up there, I got a good second shot from there.
Oh, nice, okay.
There you go. That'll play nicely.
Nice one.
Come on, come on.
Go, baby.
Turn.
Go, baby.
Turn. That's okay, that's nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
I just went for it.
There it is.
If I think about it too much, I'm gonna do something dumb.
All right. Here's your challenge.
Okay.
So this was recommended by the senior champion 2 years running, Darren, Mr. Darren. He's a great guy, and he said that we should go with our off foot, which for me would be my left foot.
Left-footed. I struggled enough with the right, but there has to be a challenge.
There has to be a challenge. I would say just beat me left-footed. I'll still play from the black.
Okay.
Admittedly, though, I'm not left-footed, so this is going to be a challenge for me as well. So,
I like it. All
not
right.
just you, but me.
Ball. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Oh, nice. Went with the toe. Up the hill.
That'll play well.
He's going for distance.
Wow. Nice.
Go, baby.
Oh,
Go, baby.
go. Good job. You're right on the edge of the bunker.
Gonna need a toe massage after this. Oh, nice. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh! Get there. Sealing the No! No! Oh! Oh no!
That's crazy!
Oh yes! I'm sorry. Yes.
There it is. Hey, the man, the myth, the legend.
So lefty foot golf was apparently my thing. But being the only skunked angler in the Crooked River fishing boat earlier in this excursion may have cost me this excursion reward.
Yeah, that's a good one.
An amazing dinner and evening in one of the beautifully furnished cottages located right on the golf course here at Gordonia-Olatumaha State Park, where Lex and Craig were preparing the evening's post-golf cuisine.
We won the challenge, aka David Law. Yeah, I mean, didn't you catch a fish?
Well, yeah, fish was on the boat, and then, you know, that's what happened.
Oh, well, I guess this is your dinner. Bon appetit.
I don't like this part of the show. There's different things we can do.
Don't eat too much.
That's how it works. Time to track down Ranger Al to see if any tent sites are still available. Excursion complete. See you next time.
I love what you did with the show.
Oh, me? Yeah.